as you can see here on my Google Mail page, Gmail page, I've managed to sort of agglomerate or accumulate a lot of the notifications that I sent to YouTube on behalf of the termination of my channel. And I want to tell you right now, what you see here, you'll see dates, John, from October 10th, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 29, through November 8th. But I'll tell you what you don't see on here, and for every one of these appeals that went to YouTube, I can tell you there was a physical snail mail appeal, meaning that I sat there at the computer and I would write a letter to the Appeals Department, Channel Termination Appeals Department, YouTube, 901 Cherry Avenue, San Bruno, California. And I would write them almost the identical letter that I would send on days here. And I tried to put out a piece of mail or an email every single day about my channel. Now, as a result, you know, YouTube would send back, and YouTube's not the kind, and Google is not the kind of people to sit there and respond when you write them a letter. What you typically get in response to that is some kind of canned reply to them, and that canned reply will just be a form letter that says, you know, we're writing back to you to tell you we acknowledge your letter. And after the termination notice, now remember what I talked about, we come to a fork in the road. You could go one of two ways. You could either throw up your hands and say, okay, I'm done, or you could say, I'm going to fight it. And I determined at that point that every chance I would get and every fork of the road that came, I would continue pressing forward with appeals. So I sent an initial letter on October 8th. But you can see or October 9th, but you can see on October 10th, excuse me, I had sent a more information letter, which was highly detailed, and went on to note that as I set up the channel, there were only 2 initial community guideline violations, but they had been resolved and in good standing by the time that the channel, it came into good standing by mid-July. So you can see the length of the letters and appeals that I wrote to YouTube, and rest assured, these letters went out every single day, whether they were snail mail or other mail. When it came to, and I would receive notifications back from YouTube reminding me, every third notification, reminding me that my channel had been terminated. And you can see some of these are appeal of wrongful termination of Rosie O'Kelly channel on YouTube. And on October 13th, I thought to myself, I'm going to up the ante now, and I'm going to attach a video appeal to my Gmail of October 13th, 2013. It's a little squishy, it's a little teary, but I was very upset, feeling like I'm fighting back against a machine that has no human face to it, and no human being that can sit down and understand the pain of having a channel that was wrongfully terminated. So I went ahead and attached this video appeal to that Gmail of October 13th.
YouTube, I'm Rosie O'Kelly, and I'm here to give a video appeal for the reinstatement of my channel, the Rosie O'Kelly, O''K-E-L-L-Y channel on YouTube. My channel is nothing but uplifting for the transgender community across the world. In all the time, the 9 months or 10 months that I had the channel, I never left a negative comment for anybody, or did anything I'm not proud of on the channel in the way of interactions with others. I know I often left comments in a short period of time, but they were always positive, and they were always as a result of videos that I'd watched the night before on my iPad. My iPad touchscreen keypad is not something I can work well with my fingers, so I would always wait till the next day to go to work. comment on the videos I had seen the night before. I never spammed. I never left a comment for anyone that wasn't subscribed to me or I subscribed to them. As a result, I've lost over 1,300 videos with family and friend stuff that I will never recover again. Improvements on the rancho where I live, and helpful videos about how to make transition strips between rooms and electronic repair. It just wasn't about just being transgender. It was a channel that people like to watch every day. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to cry. But I'm just saying, if you could just review everything and see that my account was in good standing with no violations on October 8th, and I've never spammed anybody or done anything to violate the rules. I'm just asking that my channel be reinstated, and I will always be careful in comments. My 2 stupid community guideline violation strikes in January for partial nudity, for not even taking time stupidly to review the YouTube terms and conditions, were strikes that I deserved, but by mid-July they were removed, and for months my account was in good standing with no strikes. I'm respectfully asking YouTube to please reinstate the Rosie O'Kelly channel. Many friends have written on my behalf telling what the channel meant to them and to me. I don't have anybody in my life out here in California trying to just make my way in life here on the rancho. But I really liked having YouTube, and I was always a force for positive on YouTube. Thanks for your attention.
I know you see that, and it's really a weepy message, but the pain of having that channel terminated 4 or 5 days before, it was still stinging and really smarting with me. And I thought to myself, if I could just get somebody, just one person, to understand that the channel was wrongfully terminated. It was in perfectly good standing, with no strikes at all, no content strikes, no copyright strikes. It was a thing of beauty, running along, no flags, no nothing. I mean, I had learned my lesson so well. People would try to flag stuff and bring it down, and it wouldn't stick. You know, YouTube would review things. People would tell me, I didn't like that video, I flagged it. Well, nothing ever happened to it because it went on. I knew the guidelines well, and I was really smarting on that day that I did the video appeal. But I'll tell you what, you fast forward now week after week, okay? And I wrote continuously, and I would get a reply from YouTube back and Google. Okay, let's look at some of those replies. In a pattern that was to continue for about a month, when I would write an email, a Gmail, to Google, and I never got a reply on any of my snail mail that I sent to YouTube headquarters down in San Bruno, California. But every time I would send a Gmail in, I would either get one of the standard termination of account notifications that I showed you listing the 3 strikes, or I would get a notification, thank you for reaching out about your difficulties accessing your Google account. We looked into your request and we found there's already a pending appeal for your account. Please wait for the result of your current appeal. Thank you for your patience. Now, you know, that would give you a little bit of hope, despite the fact that you've already received notification that your channel's been terminated. Having received that notification, would you have gone ahead and continued to write letters to Google in the face of knowing that your account was terminated? And I will tell you what, there were many times what would happen was I would get the same notification from Google about every 3rd or 4th appeal that I stuck in there, the notification that the channel had been terminated. And I could go to the trash and find them. So after a while, a pattern was starting to emerge in my communications with YouTube. By November 1st, I knew that I had my last week of possibly saving my channel on YouTube. By that point, I didn't know. I started to have a little hope that despite the 4 or 5 notifications of termination that I had, I still had the ace in the hole if there's appeals pending on your account. Which thing should I put stock in? Of course, being a wild-eyed, optimistic Irish gal, I put stock in hoping that my appeal would go through. But to be sure, I wanted to take one more dramatic step. I did a lot of research. Do you know when you write Google and YouTube, unless you have corporate business with them, if you're just a schlub like me with a channel, you already know you're not going to hear a reply from anybody. You're going to get a canned response, computer-generated reply, because the YouTube and Google philosophy is a day that a human being at Google or YouTube does not have to interact with an account is a totally winning day at YouTube. And on further research I did, and this I now believe to be true, that there are only 55 employees that work for YouTube. They're doing all of the stuff that's being done. The rest of that is being done by computers, by automatically generated Gmail things. When somebody writes a letter to a Google group for support, what it'll do, that computer will search through for anybody that over the last 10 years wrote the same question, and it will fire that reply back on the Google support pages. This is an automated response from Google Corporation. In other words, there's nothing new under the sun here. It's just the same stuff coming, crap, worm, coming your way again. Here it is. I knew that. But I knew I had one more shot, and that was to do the deep research to find out who at Google Corporation, forget YouTube now, who at Google Corporation is responsible for running YouTube Corporation. And after I did a lot of deep work, I'm not going to give the name out because I'm not going to have people letter bomb this individual. But I tell you what, I was able to discover in searching proxy material, that's material they hand out at shareholders meetings for people that own Google stock, who the officers were at the Google Corporation and who was responsible for YouTube. I took a pen and pen. I sat down, not a pen, I sat down in my computer and I ripped off one more letter to that individual. I put a stamp on it, kissed it goodbye, because that was the end of the line for me. That was going to be the last thing. The last thing I could do was make a human appeal to somebody that worked there, and I knew that this guy would probably never see that letter because, you know, when you're in charge of a whole big division like YouTube, the chances of you reading a letter from me are like slim and none, and Slim's out of town. Okay, but I knew that there might be somebody that pre-screens mail that would say, you know, this might be something that, you know, we might have a little pang of consciousness about taking down this channel. What could it hurt? You know? All right, so, you know, let's take a second here, think about that, and then I'll come back and wrap it up.